Welcome back to the LEC studio and possibly Origen's last stand. Pretty bad X-Men movie, but potentially a banger of a game. One of the greatest teams in EU history, Worlds semi-finalists, but right now they are battling against their demons from the past and losing. In 2015, Origen entered the EU LCS and immediately took names. The superstar roster of Soaz, Amazing, Peke, Niels, and Mythy completed a Challenger to Worlds speedrun where they made European fans everywhere proud at Worlds by making it to the semi-finals. The future looked bright for Origen, but little did we know then that may have been the best they would ever do. They did keep the momentum going in 2016 spring, and they made it all the way to the finals again, only to lose to G2 Esports. And to add insult to injury, G2 annexed the Origen bot lane, Sven and Mythy, leaving OG in disarray. What followed was a tragedy for the org, with that much promise and seemingly endless fan support. They had to improvise, and after a stint with Forgiven in the bot lane, they put Xerxe in the marksman role. It went about as well as one could expect. Origen made poor choice after poor choice and clocked in at 9th in summer 2016 and fared even worse in 2017 spring, eventually losing their EU LCS spot to Giants come summer. Now, after a year away to regroup, Origen joined the LEC in 2019 with a new roster, new management, and new hope. The lineup of Alphari, Cold, Nukeduck, Patrick, and Mythy reignited the hope in the brand for fans and haters alike. And Origen kept the momentum going all the way to the inaugural LEC final. There, again, that same team stood in the way. G2 ended up winning 3-0, but it looked like Origen had finally turned over a new leaf. But the loss to G2 seemed to echo through in their performances through summer. A heartbreaking 8th place finish, missing playoffs and Worlds again. A near devastating blow for the players, one can imagine. Now, 2020 again brought hope with a fantastic roster made up out of superstar top laner Alphari, lauded jungler Xerxe, mid-mainstay Nukeduck, stellar upset, and OPL champion Destiny. And the results were solid in spring, convincingly making it to playoffs to fall to, you guessed it, G2 Esports. But it was a good start for a reconfigured team, a good start. But the historic failures loomed over the team. Summer had to be where they finally performed, where Origen finally had a real shot at the title and a certain spot at Worlds. And now, here we are. The support swap to Jactroll didn't yield definitive results. The honeymoon turned into a hangover, and Origen dipped into despair and a 5-game losing streak, and now has an astronomically low chance of making playoffs. But there is a chance. A 4.7% of scenarios chance, to be exact. It's not much, especially in light of their potential, but they owe it to themselves, their fans, and their legacy to make it count.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. That was... I ended on a somewhat uplifting note, but obviously a very difficult road for Origen. Chat, hold on to your Fs for now. They're not dead yet, but we'll see. After this game, they very well could be. And I never really thought that we would be... I didn't think Origen were going to win the split, don't get me wrong, but I never thought we'd see a world where this Origen lineup did not make playoffs.
It was part of that bucket of the benefit of the doubt, if you will. And it feels like Sjokz just delivered an obituary for Origen, even though technically they still have a chance. But it is finally do or die. The stakes for this match are incredibly high. If SK win, nothing really changes. SK lock playoffs, or excuse me, everything changes.
Everything changes.
SK lock playoffs. If Origen win, nothing really changes. Everything can still fall and go sideways. So if you like a twisty-turny to the last death, last breath, you want Origen to win.
Anxiety-inducing nonsense. Yes, Origen are your favorites. Or if you're an Origen fan, of course. If SK win, though, secure a spot in playoffs. OG are the first team officially, I believe, eliminated from contention, which is crazy. That it's only happening with a day left in the split, or a day and a half, I suppose, at this point.
And I feel like the sentiment that really sums it up was Alphari's tweet that we showed on broadcast yesterday, which was, I'm tired of saying next year is going to be the year that I make it to Worlds. And it's just like, that's so devastating because if you look at Alphari's stats, still, he's statistically on top of everything. He has been a phenomenal top laner, statistically the best top laner, despite his team going on a massive losing streak right now. And yet they cannot win with the all-star top laner.
It's not even like the story of a paper-perfect roster, right? It's not like if G2 came together and then immediately blew up, you'd be like, okay, I can believe that they're 5 great players. Like we've seen people put 5 great players on a team together and it falls apart. Like that stuff happens all the time in League of Legends history. It's happened with a ton of different teams. But to put 5 players who are very solid, many of them lauded for their communication and their teamwork skills, and to then see that group of people collapse so entirely is truly stunning.
And then on the other side, of course, it's SK. You know, they come back in, their first inaugural split, they then make it to playoffs, they kind of disappear. Losing Selfmade was a massive blow to them, but now it is all about Crownshot, and that has kind of continued to be the story. But where you have guys like Nukeduck who are under so much scrutiny and so much criticism, guys like Melitza and ZaZee are really starting to stand up. You know, Humanoid and Larson definitely at the very top of kind of the new blood of mid laners. But ZaZee and Melitza are nothing to sneeze out. ZaZee's Orianna performance has been incredibly strong. And this is the thing, it can't just be about Crownshot if SK are going to cement their playoff run and then make a deep run, preferably towards Worlds. When we got to sit down and talk to Crownshot, he's like, I am a Worlds ready player. I know that I am. I just need to make sure that I'm on a Worlds ready team, and it's time for SK to finally prove that.
Huge opportunity for SK. You can lock in, you can be comfortable for the rest of the week. No more anxiety for you, your lineup, your staff, anyone else that believes in your team. Of course, OG win here. They hold on to hope for themselves and keep the league in disarray, as mentioned before. But for SK, you said it. I want to see more from Crownshot this week. I want to see ZaZee and him working together. These are 2 carries who have proven they have the potential, but we've yet to see a game where ZaZee's popped off and Crownshot's failed, and they've managed to find a win regardless.
And again, the blue side win streak continues. We just had Schalke win on blue side the previous game. SK Gaming this time around on blue side. The Caitlyn has already been banned away, as well as the Yuumi, so you lose some of that power of the potential Twitch Yuumi or Ezreal Yuumi. But Volibear might slip through. We know that Trick likes to play that one.
Absolutely does. And I really like the fact that you pointed out the Yuumi ban, especially because normally we'd see something like the Ezreal taken away. People aren't as worried about Yuumi, but obviously one of the few teams that has multiple Yuumi pairings is SK Gaming. One of those pairings would have been the Ezreal Yuumi, so OG has to be feeling pretty good seeing that Ezreal first pick to not give up that lethal duo.
Now, other blind pickable champions that went through are going to be those mid laners, the Oriannas and the Azirs, but one of the biggest problems for Origen is that Nukeduck hasn't looked very comfortable on those champions in meta. Yeah, he can play the Orianna, he can play the Azir, but his most comfortable pick has been that Corki. So even though the Oris and the Azirs are available, it just hasn't looked as powerful, whereas if ZaZee just snap grabs a blind Azir kind of on this next rotation, you're like, yes, this is exactly what SK Gaming want, a very high range composition between Ezreal and Azir.
And here we have, again, essentially the same first rotation that we saw from OG yesterday. Now, yesterday it was a Jhin instead of a Senna, but the red side immediate blind pick of the Ornn top lane. Of course, in the past, Ornn has been a flex pick, but we've yet to see it so far this season, so assuming that will go into the hands of Alphari.
And I think it's just one of those cases where you're against Jenax and you kind of know what his champion pool is going to be because he's relatively new to the top lane. Like, yeah, Alphari will blind pick Ornn a lot of times because he's Alphari. He can play any champion that he wants. It doesn't really matter. He's also a phenomenal Ornn player. But you expect that Jenax is probably either going to play an Aatrox or a Sion, maybe a Volibear top, you know, one of those champs.
One of the things that I will say, though, is that last game we saw that Bard really struggled to be impactful in the hands of Labrov, and it wasn't Labrov fault. A lot of it was to do with the enemy team's composition, but now we see Limit getting his hands on the Bard into a composition that will very much be vulnerable to that Tempered Fate. The Ornn obviously can't go unstoppable, but the Senna and the Tahm Kench, very easy targets to isolate and catch out with that ultimate ability, as now we see Tahm Kench and Azir locked in. SK Gaming going to get their hands on Azir for ZaZee. You'll love to see it.
And we already talked about kind of the range advantage that SK Gaming's composition has put together. Now, obviously, as the game goes longer, it gets a little bit easier for Senna. But right now, with the 3 champions that Origen have, it really dissuades you from diving back into them. Senna and Tahm Kench work very effectively at kind of creating a little base for everyone to move around and then to slowly push through. I expect we'll probably see Nukeduck on something like his Corki. Maybe he decides to reach for something like the Zoe, but that's kind of been, never mind, there goes the Corki. That's kind of been the thing about Origen in this meta is that Nukeduck hasn't looked comfortable or hasn't excelled to the same degree as other mid laners on the champions that are powerful right now. And SK Gaming are really pinching him right now.
absolutely are. And where were you when Trix Kha'Zix got banned out? Incredible. Origen giving a lot of respect over to him, a champion that has been paired very well with Yuumi in the past, but just a lot of targeted comfort picks taken away from Trick, potentially trying to force him onto something that he's used in the past, like the Sett, but also something that Origen still could pick away here with the 4th of 5 picks.
Okay, so you would assume that they would grab the jungler here. You can still kind of hide your jungler, especially if it's going to be a special pick. Maybe something like Xerxe's Karthus is still available there. They did ban out kind of 2 of the AD. Obviously, Corki is mixed damage. Mid laners.
Ooh.
So here's the thing. I knew this means that it's going to be Nukeduck Zed.
For sure?
Well, the thing is that that's what it empowers. Like, Nukeduck plays... We talk about his champion Ocean, but his effective champion pool is much smaller than that. And Nukeduck is a specialty Zed player, and Karthus coming back into the pool makes an assassin like Zed actually capable. I don't know if he'll actually pick Zed. I've just been guessing.
I want Zed. Imagine do or die for OG with Nukeduck Zed. I mean, win or lose, that is a poetic way to go out.
I mean, it would be a pretty miserable lane phase for a pretty extended time.
And speaking of lane phases that might not be as exciting, maybe even miserable, we've now got the Ornn versus Vladimir topside matchup. So a lot of scaling in the hands of SK, a chance for Jenax to get his hands back on a mage on the top side. And while I'm sure Alphari will do well, he's going to need to make some impact elsewhere on the map where he may find himself getting outscaled.
They need AD. Nukeduck also did play mid lane Camille.
Mid lane Ornn, question mark?
Oh no.
We wondered when we saw
Ornn
Ornn picked so early in the draft if it was a flex pick, because quite frankly, it would make a lot more sense if it was.
No, Nukeduck is the mid lane Camille player. And he takes a comment on Camille. Oh, no, he's going to do it.
We got to 20 seconds. For those of you that remember, 20 seconds to swip swap all kinds of...
Technically, they've played both. Nukeduck has also played mid lane.
It's true. The Ocean has not been an Ocean this split, though. It's important to note. You brought it up earlier. Nukeduck has looked very comfortable on very few champions, so we're going to have to see what level of performance he showcases today. Do or die for Origen. I want to remind you, this is the draft. These 5 champions are what OG have bet their split on.
And it, for me, is frankly all about Alphari. You know, he has a power pick like a Camille. He can absolutely dominate those side lanes. And when he's in tandem with a Karthus, you have so much power there. That is never going to be a fair 1v1. It was never fair to begin with because it's Alphari, but now you also have the Karthus ultimate to plan around. Now, on the other side, it is a very scaling-oriented composition for SK Gaming. If this goes late, their comp gets out of control.
It is crazy. 2 very different styles of compositions. We've obviously got scaling on the top side, scaling in the mid lane for SK Gaming, Crownshot on comfort. Certainly they put together all the tools you expect for them to be happy. On the other side of struggling OG, it's hard to say what a good composition for OG looks like, but certainly Alphari will be happy having that Requiem to back him up in any kind of top lane play. We're going to have to see if Nukeduck can be stable for this lineup. It is do or die for OG in this battle versus SK Gaming. And here we go, Frosco.
Reminder of the stakes. If SK Gaming win, they lock playoffs, and Origen are dead. They're donezo. Everything is over. If Origen win, there's still a chance for virtually everyone.
And I don't honestly know what I want more. Do I want more chaos and insanity? Probably yes, more chaos and insanity. So soft route for OG, but honestly, SK are not a team that are going to be easily overcome. They've consistently defied expectations, holding on to 3rd place for a long time up until this week turned it all around, and maybe now can still get a spot in the top 4. Obviously, big difference if your final seed puts you as top 4 will be difficult for SK given lackluster spring performance.
And what's interesting is I look at these compositions, and obviously there's great late game scaling for both of them, but SK's comp I feel like really does thrive when it's grouped up together and you're using all of the ultimates and all of the champions in tandem together. Like, yeah, obviously it can play into a side lane with like a Vladimir or an Azir, but against Origen's composition, which is so good at using Abyssal Voyage, at using a Senna ultimate cross map, at using the Karthus ultimate globally, at putting Camille into a side lane and just destroying you. Like, Origen's comp is like seek and destroy, like split you up, find you at a numbers disadvantage, and just ruin your whole day.
And I'm ready to see a pop-off performance from Xerxe, because this is a guy that at the start, or definitely coming into the split, I expected a lot more from it. Hasn't been the strongest performance from him overall. The Kha'Zix yesterday was a little bit overwhelming, but this is his thing. This Karthus is his pick. He is 5-0 on it all time. He played it 3 times in spring. He's 3-0 on it, and this is the first Karthus of summer. And we're going to have to see if he can keep that win record going.
I think it's really important to remember that while Jankos kind of got a lot of the fame for the Karthus jungle that took over the LEC, Xerxe was, you know, whispered to be like the true Karthus player. It was just consistently banned against him because I assumed something was just popping off in scrims. But he is a Karthus special player, or specialty is his Karthus. So I am excited to watch him on it. Obviously, he is tapping his, what is it called?
Lay waste?
Not the lay waste. The,
Skittle?
The E.
The E?
You tap it on and off.
The thing that I should definitely 100% know as a play-by-play caster, because for some reason we masochistically make ourselves learn the ability names. I'll look it up. It's a Defile. It's called Defile.
Defile. Okay, so the tip is, if you guys are new to jungling with Karthus, you don't actually just keep it on. You tap it on to let it proc, and then turn it off, and then turn it back on. Even if you have a blue buff, that's the more effective way to do it. And you can already see that that's what Xerxe was doing, is he tapped it on and off for his red buff.
Quick ticks, and I believe with the changes to Karthus as well, it still gives you mana back on minions kills and monster kills, even if it is enabled, whereas historically it was only when it was disabled that you would get the kills. So a lot more healthy mana pool, hopefully for Xerxe in the jungle, even if Karthus jungle was hit a little bit with nerfs in the past. Keeping our eyes on the state of the lanes, though, obviously power farming the story for Xerxe at the moment, but Alphari doing his best to just bully Jenax as much as possible. Jenax can have a lot of sustain in this lane matchup for now, but when we start to look at one item, I think he's going to have to be very scared. Maybe even sooner than that. Xerxe finds a way in here. Going to need to bait the pool, though, or this one is not going to be super easy to pull off.
Again, level 4 is kind of the big gank point for Xerxe, because he'll have Wall of Pain. There's that W that you talked about, but Jenax able to walk safely back into his lane, so nothing there. Outside of that, kind of touching very quickly on some of the jungle pathing that happened. Naturally, it was a delayed invade that came out of Origen, kind of split the map. That empowers Alphari to be hyper aggressive with this Camille. And now that where his wave is set up, Jenax is in for a very rough time, but I guess it doesn't matter because he's on Vladimir. Like, Vladimir can have bad days and be okay.
Yeah, but without Sett on the top side of the map, he can't really TP back to the wave, so he's just going to have to live in the perpetual hell of a wave frozen on the side of the Camille. And of course, he will have a small item advantage, but Alphari is 100% in control here. He can do what he wants. He can try to stack it. He can try to keep it frozen. He's really just, this is Alphari town. There is not a lot of room for Jenax in this lane.
And it feels like that was kind of the idea with the composition. Like, yeah, you have great power from a Senna and a Karthus, especially late game, but looking at this composition holistically, I feel like this is like the Alphari comp. Like, this is really made for him to just, if he wants to destroy people in a 5v5, he can just land on someone, Karthus ultimate comes down, finishes the job, or if he does want to play kind of that split map style with a Senna ultimate as well as a Karthus ultimate wherever he wants.
Yeah, and of course Alphari is a guy that we always talk about. We pretty much just have this graphic ready anytime Origen play, because Alphari is the man when it comes to top laners. I think undisputedly the best laning top laner in our league. This man is an absolute monster, average of plus 20 CSD at 15. Just stunning numbers, people. Incredibly stunning, especially given that his team is currently at the bottom of the table to have numbers that are that high. Very rare that we see a team that is not just going 16-0 or whatever, have a top laner with such consistently high laning advantages. And Alphari is proving it to us once again. He's already 15 CS above Jenax, and of course Jenax definitely one of the weaker top laners in our league, so no surprise to see Alphari find advantages here.
Jenax is catching a bit of a break though, because the wave has finally focus fired and will slowly push back to him. So it was rough there, and Alphari was given kind of the full green light to just go to town on Jenax, because he saw that the Infernal Drake has been picked up by SK, so we knew that the enemy jungler was across map, but Alphari should be able to crash this wave pretty successfully. Maybe he hangs around, tries to deny a bit more CS from Jenax, as that number is continuing to open up very large.
The important thing to note, though, is that the price that this Camille counterpick costs, and it is that the Ornn has to play into the Azir mid lane, as we see Jactroll using the Summoner Spellbook to TP to the bottom side.
But this is the one window. Trick has found it. The wave crash came in, and Alphari now 2v1.
Gonna jump in, gonna go for the wall, gonna try to finish the dive here. Has the Hextech ultimatum, but Alphari gonna get taken out. Just a big punch to the face and first blood for SK.
Very well done from Trick right there, as a flash is also forced in the bot lane from Crownshot. That was the one window that you had. Alphari, how greedy was he going to be? And the thing was, is he should have known that the reset was gonna come in from Trick. They had just taken the Drake. It was timed perfectly with Alphari crashing 2 big waves, but he decided he really wanted to try to punish Jenax under the tower. That left him exposed for this, and this is disaster.
And you can see at this point that he knows if he tries to leap out, he just gets pulled back into Trick. His only option at that point was to try to commit, and if he gets the kill, it's not too bad for him, honestly, because a lot of CS gets taken away from Jenax, but getting nothing there in the exchange, and the gold going to very quickly balance out. Actually, observers, if you don't mind, can we just take a quick check-in? 15 CS versus the kill. Who's actually got a gold advantage? Jenax in the lead after getting absolutely blasted just in terms of early wave control.
I mean, naturally, still things are going to be rough, at least for the lane state for Vladimir. I'm talking kind of more holistically to the fact that, like, you know, obviously you want your Camille to start getting snowballed ahead, but he does have Sheen and Double Doran still. So like Alphari and kind of the extended trades is still going to be okay, and at least until Vladimir has 5 points in Q, and then it's kind of like a nothing lane.
And if he goes for like just the full CDR build, it looks for now like he's going to either go for maybe just an early Seeker's Arm Guard, maybe goes just for a quick Zhonya's if he wants to fully commit for some defensive itemization. But Vlad does feel like this is an inevitable ticking time bomb, especially against so many immobile champions like the Karthus, the Ornn, the Senna, the Tahm Kench. While Alphari will certainly and can continue to be very comfortable in the 1v1, it does not get easier for the rest of his team if Jenax is suddenly very fed.
And that's the scary thing for Origen right now. We've said it multiple times, you know, this is potentially the end of their off season. They gambled a lot here with this type of composition, you know, finding the Senna, Tahm Kench bot lane, getting Xerxe, one of his specialty picks of that Karthus, kind of putting the hard carry pants on Alphari by giving him something like a Camille. And then Nukeduck is literally just on tanking duty, and he's just, you know, he's down 10 CS, he's against an Azir, he can't stop the Azir. Just kind of chilling with them. Yeah,
I'm going to try to get that Abyssal Mask, because now Trick is once again on the top side of the map. Important to note that we have the Railgun up for Upset, as well as the Requiem for Karthus, so Alphari maybe, unlikely at this point, but maybe could try to turn around a fight, find a 1-for-1 in this exchange, or even make it out alive. There's a lot of global and semi-global pressure coming in from the OG lineup.
They're not moving because they saw Nukeduck disappeared, but now that Nukeduck's back in mid lane, that's why they
Clean pullback into the sweet suplex. Alphari, goodbye.
Are we watching just the destruction of Origen?
Yes. Yes, Froskurinn, we are. And right now, massive shout out to Trick, finding 2 of those ganks back to back. Obviously, Alphari caught out. People can criticize him as much as they want. The hook shot there, you know, perfectly played around by Trick. If you mess up the timing there, you will, the pullback will not go through, and Camille will still get pulled to the wall. So, well executed.
That's now the Infernal Drake. It's going to be the Rift Herald. 2 successful ganks coming out of Trick. The fact that Jenax is now 2-0 on this Vladimir. Everything is going right for SK Gaming, and they have fantastic scaling. They didn't have to win the early game.
And the thing is, Froskurinn, when we talk about these teams, oftentimes, at least on the side of SK, we find ourselves talking about the bottom lane, but this game is not about Crownshot as much as he has been the carry for this team across the entire split. Hell, it's not even about Upset, although it might have to be with top lane suffering so much. Out of nowhere, it's about Jenax. And Jenax's split is not one that you necessarily prepare graphics for. He has been hit or miss. He's played a ton of different champions. He's rarely found success, but this is a game with the help of his jungler where he has the potential to absolutely dominate.
Now, I will say something about SK's composition, depending on how late this game goes, is that it's very magic damage heavy. And Ornn, obviously, you can already see the completed Abyssal Mask is going to be able to itemize so fantastically into this. He's like, I don't care who I lane against. I'm perfect for everyone. Like, he's going to have an absolute field day. So that is something to watch for as this game gets later and later. It's an Azir. It's a Vladimir. It's also an Ezreal and a Bard. Like,
yeah, this is a game where I would advocate for a bit of healing reduction. I'll have to hold that thought. OG trying to use a global advantage here, trying to get something done. There's the Ornn on the backside. Nukeduck sidestepping there on the initial stun is going to be a big deal. Crownshot taken out. Limit next on the menu as Nukeduck wants to turn it back. Down comes the Requiem. Nukeduck gonna Jactroll.
What?
Jactroll?
What?
Observers, we're gonna need to. I'm sorry. I have my glasses on. I surely should have been. What happened? Hello?
He has Unsealed Spellbook. I'm assuming he swapped it out for an Ignite. I don't know. I'd have to see the replay.
Okay, Jactroll. We had 3 choices. We can give it to the Ornn, the Karthus, or the Tahm Kench. Now, there's only one right option, and yet somehow we considered both other options much more highly.
Even when they win, he destroys it. I'm sorry, that was unfair.
Okay.
What happened here?
Okay, so we're going way back.
So he starts with Exhaust. I'm just paying attention to his spells.
Bam.
There's the Exhaust.
Bam, bam. Walks him down. That's one tasty Ezreal. Nukeduck. Doesn't really sidestep so much as just does not get hit by the Cosmic Bind.
Ah, he goes to heal next.
Okay. Oh! No! Jactroll!
Put it away!
Okay.
I'm mad.
Wow.
I'm mad.
That's a hungry boy. You didn't need that. No one else had had dinner yet. Tahm, Kench.
That's when you go back for seconds and Xerxe shows up and dinner's gone. He's like, what the f?
It's that South Park episode where Cartman saw the skin off the KFC. Oof. Jactroll, my man. That's disrespectful. All right, whatever.
It wasn't even like a space.
And there was no point. He was dead 3 different ways. The third way was Jactroll. Okay.
It's too important right now.
We've played a lot of bad solo queue games today, so bear with us. We're just like instantly triggered again. That said, they found kills. It's 2-2. Yes, SK have a 2 Drake advantage, but OG, while top lane seems to be going wrong, everything else on the map seems to be going okay for now. That's going to be double TP coming in. First, it's going to be the Azir, tick, followed up by the Vladimir coming through. Jenax on the backside looking to fish off Xerxe. Xerxe's going to be in trouble, very immobile, but the dunk down coming in from Trick. Jactroll left himself in the pit. That's going to be tough. Nukeduck trying to find the disengage, potentially trying to find the turn. As Xerxe remains alive, a lot of damage can come in from this Karthus. Wall of pain as well. They have to walk through it if they want to commit. In the meantime, Alphari on the top side, looking to secure some plates. Wave's going to crash in. All said, only a single kill in favor of SK.
Yeah, it's kind of the team win for SK versus the Alphari win for Origen. Like you just said, it was kills in the pocket of SK, as well as the plate gold for Alphari as he continues to get ahead. But the fact that Jenax still has those kills, I don't think it's that bad of a trade. I'm going to say karma. The fact that Jactroll was the one to go down there.
I wonder if the, yeah. On the bright side, he's got a Giant's belt now. Upset. Oh, limit. That's going to be fine. Okay. Guardian Shield is looking quite strong there as the heal comes in as well.
I was going to say, he was also standing on one of his little heals.
Little Healy shrines. Done nicely. I thought he was going to die. I forgot. Senna ult, not nearly as powerful.
You forgot that Senna is just like another support for the lane.
50-50 on a support. Yeah, whether or not you support or carry. Jactroll maybe gets a fast dead man's plate here.
So he can just run around and start licking more kills away from the team.
Yo, to be fair, we saw that from Dreams in one of the Sjokz games where he was just flashing over every wall, and it was great. I loved it, so wouldn't mind seeing it again. Okay,
Nukeduck first to move. Good flash from Trick means that he's not pounded against the wall. He's then also going to grab Jactroll here, who was thrown back by the Emperor's Divide. Swoop-de-doop him.
Oh, yeah, you're right. This is absolutely karma.
That was
because that's like every piece of CC used on the catfish.
And he goes into stopwatch. I like the fact that they tried to give the kill to Jenax. Jenax is like, delicious. And then Crownshot's like, nope, sniped.
No one who wants the kills is getting the kills today. Everyone else is getting the kills.
I think it's okay from the side of SK. Like, their tank has 3 assists. Their Vladimir is 2-0. And then Crownshot got the other one. Like, that's perfect.
Yeah, 2-0, 20% CDR at this point in the game. Maybe 25, depending on what runes he has. That's excellent for Vladimir, who, as you said, once he hits level 9, is short of an all-in, essentially unkillable.
He's unmovable from the lane. Now, that said, there's still not, danger alarms going off for Origen right now. Their comp also scales very well. We already talked about how easy it's going to be able to itemize against SK, so it's actually really important that SK do kind of stay ahead of the clock, because MR is just going to ruin their day. But, you can't be having some oopsies where Karthus isn't picking up kills.
This is what I want to say. So we've been, I think, it's been a tough split for Nukeduck, and I think there's been a lot of criticism thrown his way. And I will say,
he's doing a great job on Ornn
I
right now.
like watching him play Ornn. He looks so much more confident when he's got a big old health bar to back him up. He's just walking at everybody. He's like, if you don't back up, I will engage on you, and you have no idea if my team is here to back me up right now.
Oh,
big damage from
Xerxe. He's got Requiem. He basically knows that Limit has ultimate, and Limit's just kind of like eyeing him up, like, if you throw it, I'll throw it.
Wait for the time, but in other circumstances, it might have given them more pressure in mid lane, but obviously the Ornn doesn't really, can clear waves quickly, but doesn't really generate a lot of that pressure on his own. Is Upset and Crownshot duking it out a bit on the bottom side.
And of course, it's been kind of a hot minute that we saw Ornn into the mid lane. If you have forgotten that hellhole of the meta, he's just unmovable. Having him in the mid lane also helps because Ornn's obviously a fantastic team fighter because he brings so much CC. So by having him as a mid laner, chances are you get him involved more often into fights over river, which we've already seen Nukeduck do. He's taking Spell Book, so he can also have kill pressure with that Ignite running around.
Also can have Smite, which as we've learned is very strong when it comes to securing objectives over the last few days.
Because junglers can't Smite.
Yeah, we've learned. The jungler's a bit deficient in that area. So now we see Contestion coming over the third Drake. OG feel like this is their time to shine. The knock-up already down on the ZaZee. Perfect start for the split. Alphari on the backside can't go straight in for ZaZee, but he went over the wall and it looks like accidentally clicked the Bard portal. He goes golden. Limit's still alive. In comes the Requiem, and that's going to be at least one, maybe more. Two going over to the Karthus. Massive shutdown. If they can secure the Drake as well, it's going to be big, but they're backing off. They don't want to give this one up. Azir. Can he steal it? 3 soldiers waiting in the pit. It's going to reset a little bit. OG want to pull the Drake out, but it is just not. Drake, get out of the pit. Steal? Whoa, Crownshot, no.
That was too close for comfort. Okay, Origen a little bit with the mechanics of the Drake had struggled to get it away from the Azir and the Ezreal. Eventually got it.
What? Okay, we got to look at this because I'm almost 100% certain that Alphari jumps over the wall to get into the pit and then accidentally right-clicks the Bard portal and gets sent right back out.
Oh, that would be a disaster. Okay, all eyes on Alphari.
Maybe not. Boop, boop, jump, right-click.
Oh,
no! And Limit gets stuck in the wall and put on the other side of the Bard portal.
He literally got spaghettied.
Oh! He clicked it again! Oh, I'm so sorry. This is such a serious game. Oh, okay. I swear, producers, I'll be way more serious. They pressed us. They doubt. Have to pay respects for the code there, boys. Not sure how that one works, Reno. Oh.
I mean, do you get to pause there and be like, refs, there's a bug?
Official response. We just like call in a designer. They're like, working as intended, bro. You just need to right-click better. Okay, all right, well, Alphari did 633 damage, probably because 8 of his right-clicks targeted a Bard portal, but we'll get to that one in the next fight. Can't blame him, just a weird situation. ZaZee's broken down mid lane turret. For some reason, Trick did 2,500 damage in the last fight, and really everything is...
That's because Trick hit like 3 people with his W. It was basically Trick versus the rest of Origen, while it was Alphari versus the Bard portal.
Someone clip it. It's so.
The thing is that this poor man is probably so tilted. Like before going into it, like he's been trying so hard. His team's on a massive loss streak. This is like their backs against the wall, and then that happens.
It's like when you're not supposed to laugh at a funeral, but you can't help yourself sometimes. Oh. Everything's funnier when you're not supposed to laugh at stuff. Anyway, Trick. Now potentially getting caught out here. Limit's there to provide the backup. Alphari looking for the flank. Remember, Camille does now have a Trinity Force, so while last fight was not a good indicator, she does have a decent amount of damage, can be a very big threat to some of the squishier members of the SK lineup. OG very much still in this. Remember, they still took the Drake, all things considered, so SK will not be getting to Soul anytime soon.
Now, obviously, one of the big issues that Origen are going to have with their composition, because it is a Senna and because it is an Ornn mid, is they're not great at taking towers. They kind of have to win a team fight and then walk up to a structure. Like, the siege isn't really there. Now, the Baron is actually there because they do have a Karthus and they do have a Camille. If Camille is grouped up, like, that's fine, but otherwise, between these big monster objectives, I think you're just going to kind of see Ornn send someone to a side lane and try to make a pick. Otherwise, Origen just can't like stack up into a lane and hard force a structure down. Not the same way that SK can with their composition, which really excels in sieging.
You have to be careful here, though. Crownshot and ZaZee playing a lot of confidence, burning all their movement cooldowns just to get in and take that red buff. So now we see Alti gonna clip Alphari, and
somehow they're gonna get this tower because they've chased SK out of their mid lane. No, it'll take them too long.
They are, yeah, we are running in circles right now around this map. Nukeduck still fishing for that pick, maybe hoping to just delay here as OG are going to break mid lane tower. The cost is that Jenax is getting a lot of time to free farm on the top side.
That's
well
amazing.
Highlighted. But yeah, it would appear that OG have... Is it musical chairs? They won musical chairs.
I was like, it's going to be really hard for Origen to siege structures. And then they just like chase SK around the jungle and then walk up to mid lane tower. I'm like, huh, I guess if SK just like peace out.
The thing is, if they get a lead or a Baron buff, they've got Karthus wall and the, you know, infinitely scaling, in theory, center range. So eventually it'll be easy, but for now, ZaZee's just, yeah, one shot in the wave, and outside of Ring Around the Rosie, I can't imagine we'll see any more towers go down, but good news, folks. Those of you who love that Jactroll kill, well, let me tell you, he just finished that dead man's plate, so there might be more on the menu. What menu? Wow.
Did you just go full Midwestern?
Man, it's so hard. You just slip into it sometimes.
Howdy.
Anyway, speaking of it, slipping into the top lane here, Nukeduck feeling a lot more comfortable. As mentioned, heavy magic damage composition. You brought that up earlier, Froskurinn, and Limit now going to be in trouble as once again the bane of Alphari is a portal! Nope, all right, going down. Alphari making it out. Jactroll spitting him out. Everything's
and Limit's
fine.
still alive.
Yep.
Oh no.
Okay, so for those who are wondering what's happening, I figured out. So, okay, hold on. That Nukeduck now getting aggressive. Xerxe now stepping forward.
Oh
but
my God.
that damage is disgusting. Ooh, Trick with a perfect face breaker. Wombo combo. SK, they're not taking shit from OG today. OG getting popped just like that. Double for ZaZee.
Oh my God, I think we actually just watched Origen tilt off the face of the planet there. Like, obviously they could still come back into this game, but SK just won a massive fight, immediately turn on Baron. That might have actually just killed Origen.
I'll talk about Bard Portal later, because yeah, SK just absolutely obliterated them. 2K gold lead now in their favor. They're going to be able to grab this Baron, and let me tell you, things are going to go from bad to worse. Now here, in this play, this is what's happening. Bam, connects the stun. He pulls out, he tries to walk away. He cannot because of the Hextech ultimatum. Bad news. Camille is allowed to leave the Hextech ultimatum. So anyway, please explain the rest of the fight. I cannot keep it together.
I mean, the thing is that the Requiem comes down and they don't even get limit. He survives, I believe, with a heal. I'd have to double check. And then, like you said, Alphari gets into the Bard portal, and then suddenly Camille takes a lot more damage than she should have. She's a massive power spike for them. Trick with a phenomenal face breaker to grab multiple people there, and then the rest of SK show up and wipe Origen off the face of the map into Baron.
Slightly unintentional there, but they ZaZee with the scoop scoops everyone out but Jactroll, meaning that there was literally no counterplay for this OG lineup. All of their tools were gone in an instant. Now OG, though, they're still comfortable taking the fight. ZaZee on the backside, you have to keep your eyes on that Karthus damage, but a perfect ult to get things kicked off. Alphari,
so good for
backside, maybe it gets started, but Jenax is the one you have to keep your eyes on. Big damage going down, but there's no follow-up. SK, they've made a split decision. They can't quite match it. Alphari's now going to be in trouble. He's been isolated. He's flashing over the wall. He's going to be safe for now. Vlad is down. That's going to be a big deal. Nukeduck, though, maybe overcommitting here as the damage from the Ezreal goes in. Nukeduck now has to run for the hills. The rest of the team, the dunk back down from Trick. Massive performance from the Sett in the jungle as Crownshot will grab one on the backside.
And the chase potential is just too powerful from SK's composition. They have too many of their core items online right now. You can see the damage coming out of Crownshot as well as ZaZee when he does actually turn and hit people. Now, the reason why that fight looked a little bit stalled out for Origen is because ZaZee was actually just kind of wasting his time with Alphari, getting led around by this Azir, but as soon as he kind of turned back to the rest of his team, SK just, again, closed the door on Origen.
I mean, ZaZee's just so far ahead. Level advantage. He's going to back and presumably finish the Luden's Echo. We'd have to check on the gold to be sure, but the Azir is just so strong. Yes, he will finish the Luden's Echo. Or go boots too. It's his call. And
in seriousness, again, because the game has wildly spun out of control. Now, we did see Origen in a similar position just yesterday where they had the lead over Xerxe, and then obviously a massive misplay or outplay, however you want to look at it, from Xerxe meant that they lost. So Origen's still not technically out of this one, but oh my God, on their last leg. Now SK, like, you're seeing the changing of the guard. You are seeing the old teams getting ripped away. There's a chance that Fnatic in their first time ever might not make it to playoffs, and they might get removed by Schalke of all teams. And now you're seeing Origen just getting ripped apart by SK Gaming.
And today, no doubt in my mind that Trick is the hero for this team, but I do want to talk about bot laners, because we talk about Alphari, but the other thing is we talk about new generations of mid laners, you talk about ZaZee, you talk about Melitza, Humanoid, Larson. Let's talk about new generation of AD carries, because Crownshot came into this league, great performances, and upset.
Hit him with the penguin.
Is the man who has not been able to rise up, has not been able to go to Worlds, and he's going to find himself knocked out of playoffs by one of the younger AD carries in our league, and that is stunning.
And that's the thing, you know, upset kind of expected to kind of be behind Reckless, and then it was Perks, and then it was Carzy, and now it's Crownshot. And the fact that that list keeps getting longer and longer, I'm just gonna say it again, when we talked to Crownshot, he was like, I know I'm ready for Worlds. I know I'm good enough to go to Worlds and perform. I just need to be on a team that's good enough. SK Gaming are that much closer with this gold lead in this game to taking Crownshot to Worlds and finally proving himself, something that Upset has been trying to do for years now.
This is it. SK the potential to lock playoffs, the potential to do it on this fight. Nukeduck still gets the ult coming out. Requiem coming down, just poking him, just softening him up. They're ignoring the Vladimir for now, hoping to get a man advantage in this fight as Alphari splits on the side lane. Death Dance isn't completed yet for Alphari. Would like to have that item as Xerxe is now in trouble. Trick smited out. Is the poke there? Good damage comes in from Upset. Limit just the highway for that to connect. The rest of the team will back off. Vladimir ultimate is not going to have any kind of follow-up, so OG holding on for now. They're going to give up one inhibitor. Looks like they're going to give up two as Limit ferries the team back into the mid lane. SK ready and Sett to end this game. They just need to pull the trigger and go.
And look at Alphari. He's got TP, but this is like, you know, either this
Crownshot.
he's rage pushing.
Hoping for something on the side. He needs more gold, he needs more items. They can't want to fight until he's stronger. And look at his, he's got 1.5 items. He needs to finish Death Dance. He needs to finish more than that if he really wants to win in the coming fights.
2 inhibs down. It is so rare that teams make it back from that.
Shot.
There's the Alphari.
Jactroll on the way in. Dead Man's Plate, taking him face first into the crown shot. Definitely not where he wanted to go as Alphari finds himself staring face to face with the Zanyas there from Crownshot. And Jactroll just barely going to be able to sidestep. Ooh, OG desperate to find that pick, but it does not work out. Alphari goes down, Jactroll will make it out.
But that is so devastating to lose the teleport on the Camille when the only option that you really had was to try to trade. I mean, ideally, you only trade a single inhib, for preferably an inhib, but they traded it for an inner tower on top side. But not having TP now, like, Baron spawns in 50 seconds.
Against ZaZee and Crownshot, who both have TP. Now, admittedly, you're going to have Nukeduck's TP up, but upsets...
Playing the map is going to be, like, impossible at this point for Origen.
I mean, that's... And this is what... desperation in a game is when you're at a deficit and your top laner TP's in for a single kill pick. That's like... That's when you're praying. That's when you're fishing for any opportunity to hold on so that you can fight a 4v5, and a 4v5 that they might not even be able to win. Because what we've seen so far is... Don't be deceived, Jenax is incredibly strong right now. SK just have not followed up on his ultimates in fights because they don't want to risk, they don't want to overcommit, but if they ever, like you saw around the Dragon fight, get everything put together, OG are just going to get one shot.
They just haven't had the time for their key items to come in. You can see that Karthus is sitting on, an upgraded hat. Like, this Ornn is doing a lot of work for the ornaments across his team, but...
Oh, TP to topside for the wave. As Ocean Soul goes down, that feels bad.
I mean, they couldn't contest it anyway.
It's true.
Like, Jactroll is like the desperation. Like, he came off the spawn. He's like, okay, they're going to be on Drake. I have a tiny window of opportunity to run and ward Baron because we know that they're going to do it. So he, like, sprinted. Now, the ward hasn't caught it. Never mind. It has. ZaZee has now cleared it out. This is it. This is the last stand.
SK on the cusp of making playoffs. OG on the cusp of elimination. Everything comes down to a final fight. Jenax keep your eyes on the Vladimir. The setup is there. Nukeduck caught out. Nukeduck isolated. The team is not here to follow up. But Camille on the side. Maybe they can get something done. Nukeduck's still quite tanky, but he doesn't get the chance. The suplex back. Xerxe now taken down. He's in the midst of the entire team, but Alphari just fighting for a target. No, limit. Denying ZaZee. Alphari can't get anything done. The Camille has been absolutely shut down. But no, Alphari finding one. The stun into the wall. The Guardian coming into the tournament time. ZaZee's alive. The Railgun upset. Desperate to keep the dreams alive of OG, but it is too little. It is too late. SK are moving in for the kill. They've got supers in the bot. They've got supers in mid. Crownshot coming in just for style points. He knows he's done it. He knows he's made playoffs, and he knows he's taken it right from the hands of OG.
The old guard is dead. The new guard will rise up. It is Matt Lyons and Rogue fighting for the world spot. It is SK to kill Origen. This was a team that was undisputedly going to go to Worlds, and now lock SK playoffs.
That was not the game that Origen wanted to play. That was not the performance that they needed from their top laner. And at the end of the day, that was the most we have ever seen this season from Trick in the jungle. That was a masterclass of shutting down top lane. And even then, Alphari still tried to find ways back, and I'm not gonna lie. Against a different support, maybe he found a few more kills. Maybe he started a snowball, but today, OG were not the better team. SK were, and they have earned their spot in playoffs.
Origen haven't been the better team for 3 weeks now. Probably longer than that. Huge congratulations to SK, who have locked playoffs. Now, obviously, they are still fighting for seeding, and things can definitely still change onto the table. I want to kind of pick up what you said. We always knew that this was the Crownshot team. We needed someone else to step up. If that was going to be ZaZee, if it was going to be Trick, if it was going to be Jenax. And that game, when you're against Alphari, for Jenax and Trick to hold so strong. Jenax, the role swap from mid lane to top lane, popped off on that Vladimir, and Trick set him up beautifully on that set. So well done. That is an SK that can potentially take Crownshot to Worlds.
And we've talked a lot. It's team play. It's not 2019. You can't just have someone who's insane at a call and win a game. And the team play was there. You saw Limit with perfect Bardals, fantastic flank from ZaZee. It's your chance to vote for Key a player of the game. At LEC on Twitter, Trick, ZaZee, Limit. There are no wrong choices today. All of SK came in clutch. I'm still voting for Trick, though, for the record. Of course, incredible game. Congrats again to SK. Condolences to OG. We'll soon hear more from Reckless before Fnatic look to end their losing streak versus Excel Esports.
Is what we expected from him, but the damage back. Patrick gets the kill. Now Tori trying to do another one, gets the shield back up, but look at the counter barrage. It's doing so much work. Misfits have donated the kills. Kobe gets rendered.
I think if we have a good early game against a top team and we can snowball decent leads and we win team fights, then obviously we'll win.
The double shockwave, Fnatic pushing forward. Fnatic, are you kidding me? They're crushing through the fight. It's all eyes on Feather, but he's locked up. The concussive blows are too much for him to deal with. The triple kill for Nemesis. Hell of a rough early game, but what a turnaround for the boy in the mid lane.
Yeah, we really need the wins, so I'm trying to figure out what I can do to get them, try to figure this stuff out together and actually make it to playoffs and worlds, which is what we're playing for in the end anyways.
But you know FC Barcelona players eat veggies.
No, they don't.
Hey guys.
That's a sponsor, Dad.
I think it will be a tough one, but we are ready.
What? Come on.
Do you still have those carrots?
Of course I do.
Getting them to eat healthy takes a long time. Beko Harvest Fresh preserves vitamins for longer by simulating the natural 24-hour sun cycle. Beko, eat like a pro.
Welcome back to day 2 of the Super Week in the LEC. Here, Origen is out of playoffs contention, and SK just made their spot into playoffs. I had Jenax with me to talk about this victory. Thank you very much, Jenax, and congrats on reaching playoffs.
Thank you very much.
This is amazing for you guys. You just reached playoffs after missing out last year after the tiebreaker against Vitality, I think. So how does it feel, this new taste of the season?
I mean, this season has been much better for us, right, than all the other seasons. Not talking about first split. First split was a disaster, but this one has been going pretty well so far, and we can also like show it. Or, like, I'm proud that we are like showing it, especially against the good teams. We are losing against bad teams sometimes, but it happens, right? But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the split went so far.
Yeah, tell me about your journey as a player. As you said, spring split didn't work out that well, but I mean, you role swapped in between. I mean, tell me about your journey as a player and how you grew up here within SK.
I mean, for me, it was mostly all the time about confidence. Like, when I was a mid laner, I could feel that I was not confident in the champions I played and the way I played my champions. And now in top lane, I'm way more confident, which shows in some games, I would say. I'm not really playing to my level right now, I would say. Especially last 2 weeks, I didn't play too well, but my team stepped up for it, so that's pretty nice.
It's a team effort after all. I mean, you tell me that you feel more confident on top lane than in the mid lane. How do you explain that? I mean, and how does it work within SK, the synergy overall?
I mean, I'm just more confident because the top lane champions are more aggressive in team fights than the mid lane champions. So, like, the mid lane champions have to play much more with control, and I feel like on top lane champions I can be more creative with flanks and stuff like this, so it just fits me more.
We'll see if there's a meta shift now to put you in a new challenge maybe on the top lane. But for now, you guys reached playoff. We'll be seeing you guys in best of 5. The standings are still to be decided. We'll see about that tomorrow. But I mean, you were praising your teammates, saying that you didn't perform as well as you would expect for the past few weeks. So yeah, tell me some praise about your teammates, how they helped you reach playoff.
I mean, it's like every game that matters for us.
Yeah.
For us, we get into the zone and we are really focused. And I feel like especially today, ZaZee really overperformed. He did a really good job in team fights, and his ults were always really good. So he really stepped it up, and yeah.
Looking forward to see more of you in Best of 5 series, of course. Is there any last words you would like to say to the community who's been supporting you so far?
I mean, I've never really was in the spotlight much when I was a mid laner, and now that I'm a top laner, I'm happy that people like recognize me as a player and respect me for how I play. So yeah, I'm thankful for that.
I'm very glad you found your style on this new lane, on top lane. Jenax, thank you very much for the interview, and congrats again on reaching the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see more about you tomorrow, and I will see you in a few minutes for an interview with Reckless. Stay tuned.